Hello there and welcome back. You're watching Sky News Breakfast, and apologies for the interruptions. Out of our hands, there was a fire alarm here at Sky Central, but thankfully no damage caused and everyone is safe, and we can crack on with looking at this Sunday morning papers. As you can see, our reviewers are still here, Lucy Beresford and Matthew Stadlen. Sorry for the interruption, guys, but it's good to get you guys back on. So let's get started and look at the front of the Observer here that has an exclusive, Matthew, looking at the new boss of NatWest.
This is, I think, your story, isn't it, Lucy?
This is me. Well, look, I'm interested in this story for a couple of reasons. One is because the Observer's sibling paper, The Guardian, was writing this story up a couple of days ago in a completely different way. They were very pleased that this man, Rick Haythornthwaite, had been given the role of chair, and they felt he was a safe pair of hands, not least because he has a string of non-exec roles. He's had a lot of senior roles. He was at MasterCard. He's not a banker, but they hope will bring a fresh pair of eyes to NatWest. Now what's come out is that he does have, as part of his CV, the fact that he was working for the UK arm of some company called PetroSaudi International, and that's an oil firm, and they are alleged to have been involved in a scheme to divert some money. Now, as I say, it's an allegation, and there's no suggestion of any wrongdoing by Rick Haythornthwaite at all. Headhunters would have gone through his CV with a fine-tooth comb, and they would have identified that he was a really good person to have here. And he has Westminster contacts. He doesn't take over until January because, as I say, he's got so many non-exec roles that he's got to unwind all of those. But the idea that he may at some point have worked for a company that may have been involved in something that is similarly also a little bit undecided.
It's about optics, isn't it?
The way, yes.
But remember as well why he's taking over from Dame Alison, right? That the point is that she had to step down because of
mishandled. So there have been so many allegations about the mismanagement from the top that you actually want someone to go in. And what they felt was that if we had someone that wasn't from the financial services industry, which this man clearly is, that actually that would be better because he'd see it from a business point of view rather than a financial services point of view.
Yeah, but as you say, it's the optics, isn't it? It's the person taking over after the way that Dame Alison had to leave the company.
It's a bank, isn't it, that is in need of a reputational overhaul at the moment, and this story doesn't help.
It does not. Indeed, well, we'll see. And
it depends how you splash it. I think this is a very unhelpful
it's interesting that you see the sister paper, The Guardian, was reporting it slightly differently, but as we say, there is no suggestion of any wrongdoing in his time working for PetroSaudi International for 8 years. All right, let's go to the front of the Times. So, Matthew, this is your pick, and this is coverage of the earthquake in Morocco. I was on air yesterday as that story was sort of breaking in the morning. The Times are reporting 1,300 dead. I think it's over 2,000.
Yeah, so our headline there now has been updated. Just because the Sunday Times has been updated, it shows what a fast-moving story it is, and tragically, so over 2,000 now dead and potentially more in this apocalyptic Morocco earthquake. Interesting, the front page of the Observer and the front page of the Sunday Times share this picture of grief of a woman there amid the rubble, and it's always the individual human stories that grab you more perhaps than the numbers, although the sheer scale of this is horrendous. Reading here, our neighbour says one survivor lost a daughter about 4 years old when they left the house and a wall collapsed on her, and families were trying to work out whether to spend another night in the open or not, where the risk was greater, where the risk was less. It's a wonderful city, Marrakesh, for anyone who's been. The Atlas Mountains, where the epicenter, I think, was, are stunning. I've been there myself many years ago.
But it's also really densely packed within Marrakesh.
Yes, and the worry is how well built or otherwise these houses were.
And I think they're still struggling to get to the epicenter up in the high Atlas as well.
But I spoke to someone from the British Red Cross yesterday, and they're already on the ground, so they're making.
Interestingly, obviously, international rescue efforts cannot sort of get into full swing until they're invited in by the Moroccans. And so far, this may have changed because it is a rapidly developing story, but so far, despite offers of help from Biden and others, none has been asked for yet, which is interesting.
Standing by to assist if they need to. And I want to get to this story. We haven't got loads of time, but Lucy, I think this is important with you as a psychotherapist as well as a broadcaster.
And also because today is World Suicide Prevention Day, so I'm really keen that people should know that, because I think it's really important that we talk about our mental health as much as possible people. And this particular article in the Sunday Times is talking about anxiety in under 25s. Now, we know that so many people who've had their academic experiences compromised, they will have been living at home with parents who are maybe worried about the cost of living crisis. It's not a surprise that their anxiety levels are going through the roof. And the article is asking, you know, why are we so why is it because of the things that we're having to deal with in our daily lives, or is it that we're just better at talking about it? We're better at identifying that we might have this.
Don't have loads of time, but what's it come out with? What's its conclusion? Because I know we do talk about our mental health way more now than we did before.
It's going to be a sort of a balance of the two, that actually we are talking about it more, and that's a really good thing, but there are more and more things that are increasingly out of our control, and social media in particular is exacerbating a lot of people's inability to ground themselves, and that compare and despair that we have within, which can really make your anxiety florid, is unfortunately helped
I've
blame.
talked about my mental health before. I've done a long read about it in the New Statesman, talked about it a lot when I was hosting my LBC shows with former fellow presenters there, and I think it does help people if people have a public voice, speak out about it. I was very anxious. I sought therapy. Eventually, I went on some pills for it. That really helped me. It's not a one-size-fits-all solution, but people need to know that they're not alone, and that they're indeed, and there really is light at the end of the tunnel.
Definitely is. Good message to end on. Matthew, Lucy, really appreciate that. Thank you both for coming in. Sorry that last section was truncated, but
we didn't get to talk about the drunk raccoons.
we didn't. People can find that in the Daily Star later. All right, guys, thank you.